So the FDA quietly unauthorized the COVID-19 vaccines. Did you see this? So this actually happened a couple of weeks ago, and you probably did not hear about this unless you're keeping track of all of this vaccine news, because this was not on the mainstream media very much at all. So you probably did not hear about this. They did this very quietly. On April 19th, 2023, this article was posted to Independent Journal Review. FDA pulls authorization for original Pfizer and Moderna COVID vaccines. The Food and Drug Administration pulled the emergency use authorizations for COVID-19 vaccines produced by Moderna and Pfizer on Tuesday. Now, if you don't know, Pfizer is the number one provider of vaccines. Moderna is number two. So this is major. Both vaccines were authorized for emergency use more than 2 years ago after they were developed under Operation Warp Speed during the Trump administration. In a news release, the FDA explained older vaccines no longer offer full protection from new strains of the virus. The agency said it has amended the emergency use authorizations, Moderna and Pfizer-BioNTech vaccines, in order to, quote, simplify the vaccination schedule for most individuals. Quote, this action includes authorizing the current bivalent vaccines, original and Omicron BA4, BA5 strains, to be used for all doses administered to individuals 6 months of age and older, including for an additional dose or doses for certain populations, end quote, the FDA said. Couple things here. So obviously, they keep coming out with these strains. You know, originally it was the original strain, and it was the Omicron, and now it's the BA4, BA5. This is what they do. They announce these new strains. So people who are immune, like myself, because they were infected, natural immunity, which is studies show much more effective than the vaccine, they get worried and say, man, I got to get this vaccine. I was immune when I got it, a year ago, 2 years ago, but now there's a new variant. So now I need to be vaccinated. And also, number two, originally when this was authorized, it was for 16 years old or older. Now it's 6 months of age or older, which is absolutely insane. The agency stated both vaccines, which were approved in December 2020, are no longer authorized for use in the country. Let me read that again. What was originally authorized in 2020 under Operation Warp Speed and the PrEP Act and all of that is no longer authorized to be used in the country. Quote, the monovalent Moderna and Pfizer-BioNTech COVID-19 vaccines are no longer authorized for use in the country, the FDA statement said. Dr. Peter Marks, the director of the FDA Center of Biologics Evaluation and Research, said the agency concluded most Americans have antibodies to the virus by previous infection or vaccination. Marks also explained existing vaccines and boosters guidance were outdated. See, this is interesting because I thought the whole point of having a vaccine is that you get it, you are good. That's it, period. Then they introduce boosters. It's just they keep changing, they keep moving the goalposts with this, and it's ridiculous. At this stage of the pandemic, data support simplifying the use of authorized mRNA bivalent COVID-19 vaccines, and the agency believes that this approach will help encourage future vaccination. If anything, it makes people more hesitant. He added, quote, evidence is now available that most of the U.S. population 5 years of age and older have antibodies to SARS-CoV-2, the virus that causes COVID-19, either from vaccination or infection, that can serve as a foundation for the protection provided by the bivalent vaccines. So there was an interview on SiriusXM, Dr. Siegel's, radio show or whatever. I don't listen to it, but Marks actually told him, and this is a quote here, Dr. Peter Marks, head of the Center for Biologic Evaluation and Research at the FDA, which looks over the new vaccines, told me that he believes that the falling blood antibodies 3 months after having had COVID, enough justification to get a vaccine, if only as a booster, rather than rely on memory cells for immunity, which without knowing the long-term effects yet. This whole statement is asinine. So first of all, we don't know long-term effects of the experimental mRNA vaccines. We don't know that. It's impossible to know. It's a new vaccine. It was rushed to the market. And second of all, in that quote of the updated guidelines for the vaccine, he literally says natural immunity is good enough. And you're good with that. Most of the population has that, so you're good. And in this, he says, no, if you have immunity, you should still get the vaccine and booster because that's not good enough. So which one is it? And this is the problem that we have with the vaccine. There's flip-flopping. Dr. Fauci saying, no, we didn't fund gain-of-function research, which, of course, we now know is a lie. First, through the origins, where that it came from the market, the wet market. Of course, now we know that was a lie. They tested the animals there. None of them had SARS-CoV-2, so it was all a lie. It was obviously a lab leak. Just on and on and on, moving the goalposts. They say one thing, 6 months to a year later, it's something different. Marx concluded COVID continues to pose a very real risk for many Americans and asked Americans to stay up to date on their vaccines. The FDA said people who are not vaccinated but wish to be should receive a single dose of an updated vaccine rather than 2 doses that were previously recommended with the original vaccine. Immediately following the emergency authorization of the original vaccines, many major cities across the country mandated their use for activities such as shopping or dining. This is another thing that's just insane. New York City ended the vaccine mandate for city workers instated by former Mayor Bill de Blasio in February. Mayor Eric Adams said the time that the city employees had stepped up when 96% of them complied with the mandate. Many who did not were placed on unpaid leave or fired. ABC News reported 1,780 New York City's workers were fired for refusing the vaccine. They force you to get the vaccine, and then here we are 6 months to a year later, they say, you know what? If you don't have the vaccine, that's fine, when most of the country is already vaccinated. So that's it. That's the update here. I wanted to get this video out. Some of you guys who follow my channel and, the documentary, The Big Jab, that I'm making, you guys may have already heard this, but there's a lot of people out there that don't know this. When I told people this, they're like, wait, what? Because they made this vaccine, said that it was safe and effective, and no side effects except for some redness. And then now they come out and say, well, it's not effective, saying that originally herd immunity wasn't possible, but now natural immunity is actually, studies show, more effective than the actual vaccines. So they continue to move the goalpost. Again, guys, I'm losing my voice. Been doing a lot of work lately. But go to thebigjabmovie.com to support the project, to get the truth out there. Go to my Patreon. Go to Subscribestar to get the early access to the film. Also become executive producer of the film. Your name in the credits. I'm about halfway done with the script and the research. I have a lot of things coming. I'm so excited about this documentary. Again, go to thebigjabmovie.com. Be sure to hit subscribe wherever you're watching this. Follow, like, whatever. Peace out, guys. God bless.